Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Fiber Broadband Association's Five for Breakfast. We're now in our 13th episode of 2025. Before we kick off, I'd like to thank Wesco, the platinum sponsor of Five for Breakfast. Yesterday, the Fiber Broadband Association held another sold-out regional Fiber Connect workshop, this time in Philadelphia. Our amazing speakers included Dr. Chris Ali, John, you know Chris, from Penn
Yep.
State, and Steve Samara, the president of the Pennsylvania State Telephone Association, also Dr. Kyle Kopko from the Center for Rural Pennsylvania, and we had the Honorable Yuri Monson, the chair for the Pennsylvania Broadband Deployment Authority, and numerous network operators and industry experts on panels, and it was just an amazing day. And today, the Fiber Broadband Association's public policy team is down in Harrisburg to meet with the state legislators to help Pennsylvania move forward in their broadband deployment. And afterwards, we will be, I guess, up next will be our Fiber Day in the Hills. We'll be in the Rayburn building on Capitol Hill on April 9th, followed by member meetings on April 10th on the Hill. So that'd be great. Don't miss that. Then, of course, our big event is Fiber Connect 2025 in Nashville, June 1st to 4th. So join 6,000 of our closest friends in Nashville. Look forward to that. Then in July, we'll be in Anchorage. Toronto will be in August, and then September we'll be in Spokane, and then we'll be in Scottsdale in October, Kansas City in November, and then we'll finish the year with our premier member meeting in Palm Springs. That brings us today's Five for Breakfast session with Jon Willow, the co-founder of the Community Broadband Action Network, CBAN, who will be sharing her insights on breaking barriers using AI to develop stronger connected collaboration in building today's fiber infrastructure. Before I formally introduce today's guest, I'd like to introduce David Norris from our team, who's going to walk us through some housekeeping items.
Thank you very much, Gary, and thank you to everyone who's joining us today. We appreciate it. Just a few logistics, but first we'd like to once again thank our platinum sponsor, Fiber for Breakfast, Wesco. Now, please keep in mind all participants are in listen-only mode today. To ask a question, you can do so by typing it into the question box, which is located in the control panel on the side of your screen. We will host a Q&A session with our panelists during today's presentation. This presentation is also being recorded and will be available on the FBA's website within 24 to 48 hours, and you can find that recording in the Events tab under the Fiber for Breakfast drop-down option. Finally, at the conclusion of today's presentation, you'll be prompted to complete a brief feedback survey. We appreciate you taking time to complete that survey. It really helps us out. And with that, I will pass things back over to Gary to get us started. Gary?
Thanks, David, and good morning. I'm Gary Bolton, President and CEO of the Fiber Broadband Association. Last week on Fiber for Breakfast, our guest was our good friend, Jeff Hainan, the Vice President of Broadband Access and Home Networking at Deloro, who shared his latest research on where do we go from here in North American broadband deployment. And shared what Jeff shared with us is how fiber is eating into the cable industry's market dominance, and how also fixed wireless is getting capped and starting to get squeezed out. So if you missed that, please check out the replay and on our website. Today on Five for Breakfast, our guest is Jon Willow, the co-founder of Community Broadband Action Network, CBAN, who's going to share her insights on breaking barriers using AI to develop stronger connected collaboration in building today's fiber communities. CBAN co-founder Jon Willow is a former digital publisher and journalist with extensive experience working with state and local governments and policymaking bodies. Jon owns Crystal Clear Communications, a small firm serving small to medium-sized companies, nonprofits, municipalities, including locally owned utilities. Jon holds a Bachelor's of Arts in Communications from the University of Iowa and is pursuing her Master's of Fine Art and Creative Writing from Linwood University. So welcome, Jon, and for our audience, please type in your questions as we go and work those into the discussion. So I noticed one of your board's members is from Iowa. Does that have anything to do with you going to school in Iowa? Or?
Well, as a matter of fact, a lot of us are from Iowa. I was born and raised in Norwalk, Iowa, and Des Moines, Iowa. And I went to the University of Iowa and graduated from there. Go Hawks. And so I left Iowa when I graduated college and have lived around and mostly in the Midwest, closer to my family. But in 2018, well, late 2017, I had the opportunity to co-found the Community Broadband Action Network with Curtis Dean, who was also one of my great friends in college. So we had been doing radio and all kinds of related work together, including utility work, for 40 years, or now it's been 40 years. So when we realized that no one in 2017 that no one was coming to save us for putting fiber in communities, that we probably should get a bunch of people together, our members, and start working on that, with or without help. So that's how we found it. That's how we came to be CBAN. And as a member organization, a lot of our first members were from Iowa. I think our first out-of-state member might have been Beaver Island, Michigan, and they were member 11. And now we have 200 and some members in 35 states and 2 Canadian territories. So it's grown pretty fast.
So, all right, as a journalist, I mean, why fiber? How did you get involved with fiber, and why did you care?
Well, as a journalist, actually, I'd like to reframe that just a little bit.
Okay.
Fiber is the best solution most of the time. Fiber is the long-term investment play. As a co-leader of a diversified member organization, we do understand that there are instances where whole networks, some of those last locations might not be able to be fiber, but fiber is the preferred choice. As someone who's been studying the utility industry for a very long time, I don't think it really takes a rocket scientist to understand that other technologies are short term. And we've seen through the history of fiber that we didn't even know what we had our hands on when we first started putting it in the ground. We did not understand the awesome power of it. And we still have not gotten all the way. We still have more, there's still more power to leverage out of fiber. And I don't know that can be said for other technologies. And again, other technologies have a place, because some places, some communities sit on top of a rock, or they sit down under a tree, or whatever the condition is, or there are budget constraints. But any community who we work with, we will work hard to have a fiber first program in their community.
So, Jon, what is CBAN, and what's your mission?
Well, our mission is to help local entities pursue community-controlled broadband, and that can look like a lot of things. We love community-owned broadband. That's our favorite model. But we also have we have members who have great public-private partnerships, who sit on open access networks, who lease. There are as many ways to skin the cat as there are cats to skin. So did I answer your question? So what we do is we support them with direct one-on-one assistance, with educational events, with connecting and networking. We do a lot of one-on-one connecting and networking. And so if you're a CBAN member and you want to do something, you can just call Curtis and I, and we will sit down and have a meeting with you, and we will endeavor to connect you to other members, or even people who aren't members, if those are the best choices, to get you to the next place in your work. We can help you save so much money on feasibility studies and things, especially when communities are new and just getting started in their journey, because there's so much you don't know. With our members who have gone on to who've graduated from being communities or advocates and becoming provider members, they are able to mentor our communities and advocates, and that's how we create our ecosystem.
I like to say that I've never met a mayor that wants to be in the broadband business, but every mayor wants to be in the job creation business. And
That's right.
it sounds like that, what we see is some communities being left behind have to take matters in their own hands. We always love to see, when experienced broadband providers can make sure that communities are served, but when that doesn't happen, you get to the point where you can't sit around and wait, and you have to do something to make sure that your community has economic development and jobs and world-class healthcare and education and everything that fiber can deliver.
And we've attempted to support communities literally as small as 300 people, not 300 subs, 300 total people. So what, 140 to 160 households? I mean, people who don't have it, will really go to great lengths to get it once their mayor understands that it's about job creation, lifting boats, economic prosperity, an educated populace, attracting remote workers, attracting major industry, and all of those things. Then a lot of those arguments just fade right away, don't they?
Well, I'm trying to remember the name of the company. I think it was called Southern Fiber, but basically, it was a hotel owner owned some Hampton Inns, and he had fiber to his office, not his house. So he got a ditch witch out and dug a trench from his office to his house to get fiber there. And all his neighbors say, "Whoa, we wanted fiber." Next thing you know, he became a fiber operator because, just sometimes you have to roll up your sleeves to make things happen. So
We've got great stories like that from among our membership too. We have people who have like literally been one human being who lives in a town who says this is enough, and go out and spend years educating themselves and building community and building engagement around the idea. But some of these journeys are really long, Gary, as you probably know. People can wait 10 years before a shovel goes in the ground, but the work is definitely worth it.
Oh, absolutely. So, what led to this fellowship at Michigan State to investigate AI's role in enhancing community-based coalition effectiveness?
Well, I myself live in northern Michigan now, in rural northern Michigan. In fact, I was joking around with you guys before that I have to have my hardware in efficiency mode right now because it's after 4 o'clock and I live in a rural area. So my broadband connection is not only 4 o'clock bad, but it's rural bad.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. So the Michigan High Speed Internet Office, MyHigh, that their approach to deploying the capacity grants was to divide the state up into essentially its existing prosperity regions with a couple of other sub-regions to account for major metropolitan areas. And Michigan, who loves acronyms even more than other people, have had their deployment program is called the Michigan's Inclusive Training, Technology, and Equity Network, which stands for MITTEN, which is the shape of our
Of
state.
course.
So it will from here forward, these will be referred to as the Mitten regions. So, CBAN was supporting several Mitten regions in their application process, and originally those capacity grant applications were due to the Michigan High Speed Office around July 23rd, and we were supposed to get going so quickly that we would have ACP fellows by the end of August or beginning of September, and then everything slowed down in review. And one of the things that's so cool about the way Michigan is deploying these capacity grants is that they divided it was $10.1 million. It'll be about $12 million when it's all awarded. They took $10.1 million, they divided it evenly between the regions, and they said, okay, each region can get up to $857,909. Get a coalition together, get everybody in your region together. Please don't submit a bunch of applications from each region. Go find your friends, figure out how we're going to get this work done. Please apply for as much of this money as you think you can spend, which it's $200,000 a year, so pretty easy to spend. So we did that, and in the region that I was supporting most closely, Region 2 up here in northern Michigan, we put 23 people in our coalition, 23 organizations in our coalition. We had 3 weeks to get it done, 3 weeks. It was absolutely insane, and so much energy got whipped up over this, and people were just raring to go. But as the months went by with no activity, the coalitions obviously, they kind of fell apart, not for any reason except they weren't doing any work together, and everyone's got a day job and a primary mission at their own job. So as time started crawling on, we started to be worried, like, how are we going to, whenever this does drop, and they did just drop, like a week ago, we finally were notified 2 weeks ago that we've been awarded the money and the mittens. We're going to be kicking off next week, I think. The MyHigh office is going to kick off with the regions, but between July and 2 weeks ago. We really had no idea. We knew they would get together eventually. We knew it would happen, but when? And so we really, as a group, a bunch of people from a bunch of different regions, we just started sort of organically talking and saying, how on earth are we going to pull these groups back together and have them up and running so quickly? Because now this 4-year window is a 3-year window, and it's because we started so late. So what do we do? And so we started thinking about ways to stand our coalitions up quickly and efficiently, and in a way that would build trust, that would hopefully alleviate some administrative burden. Avoiding burnout would be nice. That was on the wish list. And just finding ways to quickly build systems that everyone could use. Also understanding that every coalition is dramatically different, and each region has a different focus for their work based on their own populations. So I got into conversations again with several different regions, and at some point the Community and Economic Development Center at MSU came into the conversation and said, hey, we have this opportunity. It's a short-term fellowship. We award one every year to an REI Innovation Fellow to study a pressing question, in Michigan economic development, and this really fit the bill. So I applied, and CBAN's the fiduciary. I'm the fellow, but this is really a collaborative effort between a group of about 12 people. That really care about these questions, because AI is a hot topic. It's what everyone's talking about, but we were really just thinking about not just how to use these tools and how to create a tool set, but like AI in the kinds of forms that we would probably leverage. AI can still lie, it can still hallucinate, it can still show bias. We've got people working across different organizations who may or may not have the parity in their subject matter expertise on certain things. So how do they know when the data's not good? And so once we started talking about maybe we can build an AI toolkit, we were like, whoa, we need to take a step back even further and figure out how we do this right, and how we have such diverse populations between the Upper Peninsula and Detroit, Michigan, and college towns and capital regions like Ann Arbor and Lansing. And there's not a one size fits all in any state, and that was also true for us. So this fellowship is really to we've gotten a little bit down the road now, and what we're going to do is we are going to create a framework that will include a huge piece on AI ethics and governance, and that piece is led by someone who was also very lucky to come into my orbit. Her name is Michelle Camacho Sermano, and she is a Hubert H. Humphrey Fellow on through the Fulbright program, who's spending a year at MSU and has decided to do her professional association on this project. And she's brought in some terrific people like Johannes Bauer from the Quello Center, Dennis Kennedy, who's the head of Michigan State Law and Technology. We've got just incredible people involved in this project, including folks at the Merit Network and people all over the state from within their regions who are interested in having this work turn out well and being involved in shaping what it looks like.
So what are the AI tools that you're looking at?
Well, the tool dive is a piece of it. That is one component. So we'll be looking at here. I'll actually pull up something where I can so it'll be divided in, I can't find it easily and I don't want to slow down the conversation. So we will be looking at large language model tools, automation tools, customer relationship management. We may look at some compliance stuff, but we're not really sure that the technology's there yet for just suggesting to non-data people to use those tools. But we have a list of about 60 prospective tools in about 8 areas that we're going to look at.
Where did you come up with the list? How are you engaging with these
How did we come up with our draft list? Well, that's a
Yeah.
great story. I asked Claude and ChatGTP to tell me what the to, to identify those areas and top tools for me. And so that's how I started. That's how I started the base list. And then
Right.
we've been sharing it around on a shared spreadsheet and adding tools and descriptions to evaluate as we go. So one group of us will be evaluating the tools. And then another group of us will be focusing on the governance and ethics piece. And then we'll be putting the whole thing together.
Are you engaging with the companies who have developed these tools?
Not at this time, because this is a smaller fellowship on an 8-month fixed
Yeah.
term. What we're working to do is to set the groundwork for deeper engagement and a bigger project. So this project is sort of the proof case for why this work is needed and where it can go. And then ideally, if everything goes well, we'll be able to explore further in the next iteration that does not yet exist, but which hopefully will.
What's the I'll call it the end work product? Is it come up with a dashboard, an AI collaborative dashboard that helps you that you can be able to look at that, or I mean, how do you integrate all this together?
Still TBD. I know that there will be a 15-page written report, which is probably not what people want to use. So right now we are talking to other departments at MSU and other partners who might be able to help us build something interactive within the time frame. If we can't build it within the time frame, then a goal would be to fund it immediately following, fund that build. So again, it's seed money. It's a seed thought, but I think a guideline dashboard would be a great thing, especially for communities looking to work across organizational lines, either to build fiber networks or to engage in digital adoption programs, which is what the Mitten coalitions are doing.
You know, we just did a research study on AI, fiber AI, really. And I mean, everybody kind of gets that these big hyperscalers need tons of fiber and water and energy. And people can kind of understand that for network management, being able to optimize the broadband network using AI. But what people haven't really understand is the power of the AI home. And, you know, so it sounds to me like the toolkit you're putting together, while you have a specific purpose of your coalitions, this kind of toolkit would be possible for any home, depending on however they want to organize any, efficiency.
I would say that it would be great for that, and actually that's an interesting piece, the Internet of Things and managing a home AI network. That is something that if we were able to scope beyond just where we are now, I think that's really important. That's really important support to be able to offer, and for providers to be able to offer as well. I would say that in its first iteration, this resource will really benefit coalitions of all kinds. So that can be in the economic development realm. It can be in social enterprise. It can be in anywhere in a community where people across organizations need to work together over an extended period of time without a lot of resources, which is most everything. So
See, when I was thinking about when my kids were younger and I had to figure out who could be at, for horseback riding versus soccer practice versus swim practice versus everything you got to be at, it's impossible. And so I'm kind of picturing more of an AI collaborative tool set that's like more like Waze, where you can find out where all your neighbors are going to be and who can get your kid to the right spot, and you can pick up their kids and be able to, in addition to all your other home things. But I think
why are you doing this, Gary? Why are you doing this instead of inventing AI tools?
Well, I think we have to get fiber to everyone because, to me, the AI home is like YouTube was to the internet. It took us from being consumers to be producers, and now we'll be able to be AI producers. And so I think it's a great
I don't want to
opportunity.
turn the tables, but I'm going to. Tell me what you talk about being an AI producer.
Well, just as we talked about, it's now that we can be able to leverage. I mean, anybody can be able to jump on Chat GPT. You don't have to be able to code and design networks. We can do that now using these AI tools and be able. So it's more really the generation of ideas and what's needed to be put together, and you can put together these modules, AI modules, and be able to be producers of those. So I think we're not even barely scratching the surface of what AI is going to be able to do, and be able to change things. So when you look at, so one thing I guess I haven't figured, can't get my hand around or head around is the AI tools that you're going to use to address professional burnout in the collaborative environment. So what are you guys thinking on that one?
That's not a tool to affect relationship. It's more about making efficient use of your time, not having to go back and chase things down, not having to sit and dig for an email at the end of the day. That's the kind of burnout that coalitions involve. Essentially, a lot of the people in these coalitions, their organizations might be able to bill for some of the time that they spend, but to be effective, there will be a lot of organizations are going to have to put in more time than they get paid for. And we all know that. Everyone's already got a job. So we get that a lot of this work is going to get done in the cracks, right? It's going to get done at the beginning of the day, the end of the day, when you have time to dash off an email, when you have time to squeeze in a meeting. So one thing that we would like to see happen is to create opportunities for people to do their work more efficiently and effectively together. And I think sometimes even something simple like a good AI note taker can be really helpful that way. And the settings are very controllable. One thing that one app, Fathom, has now is you can choose how you would like your summary to be, your transcript and summary to be read. So it can either be a general meeting, it can be a product kickoff, it can be a project update. All of these things have different requirements and different things to focus on. I've been really impressed, honestly, testing some of those filter features of AI tools at just how quickly they're learning. I don't have a different word for it. That 3 months ago, I don't think Fathom could have done a different project, a different project analysis for me than just listening to a general meeting. So I think that as we really understand these tools, we have to start from the place of why do I need it? Like, what is the work that I do, and what would I, and how would a tool help me do it better? And
I mean, we only have a few minutes left, but I want to hear a little bit about your digital navigator program and digital skills program. So what's going on with those?
Well, so the Community Broadband Action Network is part of NDIA's NDNC cohort, which is the National Digital Navigator Corps. At the end of August, we will finish our 3 years with NDIA, and it's been a transformative experience. Our goal is to continue to offer digital navigator services and support in our region of Southern Iowa, which was the region. We had to choose one geographic region because we had to station a person there physically. But also beyond that, we are looking at ways to operationalize digital adoption, and we're hoping that partners actually would like to be or providers would like to be our partners. I just gave a presentation to the Iowa chapter of SCTE, and I talked about how providers can support adoption for very little money. I mean, you can spend money, and there are great reasons to invest, but you can do it. And with for if you can just dedicate a little bit of staff resource or a little bit of planning time, the scale's really up to you. And we're not going to have this ongoing digital adoption skilling support that we thought we might have. And at any rate, even if we have to recreate the container now, because that work is desperately important. If we just hook people up and walk away, we're leaving so much on the table. And providers can benefit from supporting this work just because when digital skills training is available in their areas, they see a 20% decline in tech support calls. I
Oh, no
mean,
doubt. Yeah, right.
there's absolutely every reason. Unemployment goes down by a full percent in your market. I could go on and on,
Well,
But
you got to
there's,
get
you know,
fiber everybody, but then once they get fiber, they got to be able to afford it, and then they have to be able to adopt it and get the best benefit out of it. But John,
that's right.
thank
That's
you
right.
so much for sharing the good work that you guys are doing, and appreciate that what you're doing
Thank you.
for all these communities to make sure that everybody gets connected and is able to leverage the amazing bandwidth that they hopefully will be getting soon. And I want to thank everybody
Yes.
for joining us today. Look forward to getting back together next Wednesday. We'll have Evan Freeman from EPB, our Secretary of the Board, and our Fiber Broadband Association's conference chair, and Rich Williams, our conference program director. They're going to provide a preview of Fiber Connect 2025 in Nashville coming up June 1st to 4th. This is going to be, last year, if you thought Fiber Connect was great, we have taken it to the next level, and you're not going to want to miss hearing what they have to say about all the new things we're going to be doing this year. So thanks, everyone. Thanks, John. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next Wednesday.